Hey, I'm Ed Sheeran and you're on noise11.com.
Well, welcome to noise11.com. It's good to have Ed Sheeran back with us again.
Hello.
And welcome back. What a roller coaster of a year you've had, Ed.
Yeah, it's been great. I've been having so much fun, and I'm just happy to be back in Australia. This is one of the best countries to tour in. I think every artist would agree with that.
Yeah, well, when you were in last time, Plus had just come out in Australia and started to do well. But, really, you've been going for 5-6 years prior to that. I think we go way, way back. The Orange Room would have been around 2005.
Yeah, that's quite a bad EP though, but yeah.
But it was still an EP.
It's still a release, yeah.
You must have been 14?
Yeah, 14.
Wow.
14, yeah. But no, everything's going well. I'm just happy to be back. I love everything here. The people, the food, the views, the culture, everything's great.
Yeah, and the album's doing really well. It did really well firstly, I guess, in England when the A-Team. Well, I think you've just passed the 12-month anniversary of when that became
in June,
a hit.
Yeah, June 12th. That's when it was released.
And then Australia rolled out a few months later, and then you were over at South by Southwest to introduce yourself to the American market. Definitely,
yeah. I mean, it's been a bit of a whirlwind year, to be honest. I mean, like the Brits, the winning the Brits, that was a kind of moment where it had been a year since I'd signed a record deal, and a year later I was celebrating a #1 album that had sold 1 million copies and winning 2 Brits. It was just a bit mental, you know.
There was the Ivor Novello as well too, wasn't it?
The Ivor Novello means the most to me out of anything that I've done, because you can sell as many records as you want, but if you don't have critical acclaim, you'll never be kind of happy with your So I made an album that I was happy with, and I put it out, and it got slated by a lot of people, and then winning an Ivor was just kind of it just took all of the negative comments that had ever been said to me and just threw them out the window. And it was like, that is, because it was voted by my peers. It's that you, as a musician, you don't crave the respect of reviewers. You crave the respect of your peers, your musician friends, and you want people that you look up to like your music, I guess. And you don't really care too much about what the press say, but you do care what your peers think. And winning an Ivor is voted by your peers, so it was a very special moment for me.
I would imagine you wouldn't have had much time to be home in all this time either. So what do you do with these awards? Where are they sitting?
They're sitting on my mantelpiece in London, yeah. So gathering dust. I need to dust them.
How often do you get home?
I get home probably about once every 3 months, once every 4 months maybe.
Just to dust off the Ivor and
usually,
off you go again.
Usually when I get home, it's usually for about 2 or 3 days. It's usually quite nice. We get to, but there's some promo in there. But I actually really enjoy promo now in England, because I'm not introducing myself. We have something to talk about with much like this. We have something to talk about now when I do interviews. So it's good.
Tell me about working with Elton John's team and how that came about.
Elton John, I went on tour with a guy called Just Jack. And his management company was Elton John's management company, and one of the people at the management company, a guy called Stuart, took me on, and then he managed me for a year, and then I released loads of independent EPs, and then Elton heard one of the EPs and then suddenly got interested, and has just been a kind of help ever since. I mean, as far as advice goes from Elton, he's done everything, good or bad. Everything. He's played every single venue you can imagine, done every single bad experience you could have imagined, and had a hit in every single country. So he knows exactly how radio works, exactly what not to do when you get to certain positions, how to play live shows. So to get advice from someone like that so early on in my career is kind of priceless.
I would imagine that somebody like Elton John, had he not become a musician, would have been a brilliant businessman, because
I think
when he's not being a musician, he is a brilliant businessman.
I think Elton, if he wasn't a musician, would make the world's best A&R scout. His ear for stuff is he basically buys every single release. He buys 3 copies of every single release every week, no matter who it is. It could be Steps, it could be Black Sabbath. He buys every single copy of every single CD. 3 times for his 3 different houses, or 1 for his car or something, and he listens to everything. So his musical knowledge is greater than anyone. So he'll, whenever I see him, you kind of see Elton and you see he's a bit older than me, so I kind of would talk to him and kind of talk to him about stuff that I thought was hip and cool. I'd talk about the new Kanye West record or something like that, and he'd be like, well, I sung on it, So you kind of he definitely knows his stuff when it comes to new music. So I think he'd make the world's best A&R head of a label, I think.
Have you heard his stuff with Panau?
I haven't yet, no, but it went number one in England, which
Fascinating,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah?
Fascinating, yeah. Yeah. And what about the education of knowing Elton's music? Did you have to go back and learn about the early albums, or did you know them?
I mean, I'm having to go back on some artists now that I meet and listen to their kind of early work. But thankfully with Elton, my parents have always been massive fans, so I knew everything. My dad's favourite album is Madman Across the Water, so like I knew all of his stuff. So it's quite nice to be able to meet him and chat to him about some of these songs, you know.
Did you sit down with him after you'd recorded Plus and have a chat about that?
Yeah, I played him the whole album, and I said I'm doing 18 first single, but I don't really know what to do after that. And he was like, I think You Need Me should be your second single, because that will kind of keep you in that kind of cool market for a little bit, and then Lego House will be your third single, and that will smash it, and then from then on you can do what you want. So that's how it works, and it worked out well, I think.
Wow, so he came up with second and third.
Yeah. I mean, I made an album of songs that I was happy with, but I have no idea what works on radio or what would be a good song to release. I just knew that 18 was the first single, and he was just adamant that Lego House should come third. Just like that has to work. So
right. So Drunk and Small Bump, they were your choices?
Yeah. Well, actually, Drunk wasn't my choice. Drunk, radio in England just started playing it, and before I knew it, it was just on the playlist. Like it literally, like I was going to go with a song called Give Me Love for that single. Right. So I'd done Lego House, went home for Christmas, came back, heard Drunk on the radio, and I was like, oh, it's funny they're playing an album song. And then I heard it on another radio station. I was like, oh, I wonder what's going on here. And I rung the label, and they were like, nothing we could do. They just started playing it, and they playlisted it. So, yeah.
Yeah, it almost sounds like a greatest hits record when I listen to it now, because of the number of hits that you've had off there. Thank you. Do you actually listen to your own record?
No, I don't listen to the stuff that's released, but I listen a lot to demos of stuff that I'm working on for the next record. Like I really listen to it a lot. Like I'm not like Lil Wayne, who only listens to his own music, but when I've done like a new song, I'll listen to it 40 or 50 times before I'll start playing it live, I guess, just to get my head around it. And
what about the song Moments that you wrote for One Direction?
That originally was a drum and bass song. I did that when I was 17, and it was off a big batch. I wrote around 200 songs within 2 years, which are all on my hard drive that I haven't used, and one by one they're getting given to people, which is quite cool. I just got a cut for an Italian singer, and they translated the song and done stuff like that. So it's great to kind of have the songs be used. But yeah, no, the song Moments, that was a drum and bass song I wrote when I was 17. Then when I started hanging out with Harry from One Direction, they said we need songs for our album, so I just gave them a whole bunch of songs and just said take a pick, and whichever ones you want you can have.
So having 200 songs in the back catalogue that a lot haven't been heard, does that mean you have to, or you don't need to write for the next record? Is it all already there?
Because the 200 songs that are in the back catalogue because I don't feel that they're right for me. So I still have to write songs that I feel would be good for me to sing now, like Moments. Even though I think it's a good song, it wouldn't have necessarily fitted on Plus, I don't think, and it would fit better on the Up All Night record,
Yeah. Anyone else that you've written for? Or
I've done some stuff with Taylor Swift, done some stuff with Snow Patrol, did that stuff with that Italian singer. I've had a lot of people approach me, and I've said no to pretty much everyone. Yeah, so I'm only giving out songs at the moment. I'm not doing the co-writing thing. Taylor Swift was a bit of an exception because she's a great songwriter, and I thought that would be a good experience. So.
And while you're doing all of this, you're still out on the road, and there's been literally hundreds of shows that you've done in the last couple of years. Yeah,
I just enjoy playing live. I wouldn't do this at all if I wasn't playing live. Like, interviews are very fun. Studio time is very fun. Everything's great fun. But if you took the element of live out of it, I wouldn't be doing this job at all. Like that's why I do it.
Have you had time to sort of have the fun moment of being the rock star yet?
How do you mean?
Well, it's a lot of hard work. You're constantly working. You're doing interviews. You're on the road. You're writing songs. You're recording songs. But has there been time just to sit back and have a bit of fun with the success to date? Stop and smell the roses, as they say.
I haven't stopped and smelled the roses. I have just bought a house, which I never thought would happen this young. I dropped out of school very early and didn't really have any grades, and I thought I'd be working for a long time before I got a house. So I just got a house. So that was my stop and smell the roses moments. That was my kind of like, if everything goes tits up now, if everything fails, I'm good. I'm sorted. I'll have a house. I'll live there. You know, it's all paid for. I'm sorted. So that's my kind of security, I guess, and it's also what I've been working towards, I guess. So I'm just going to build upon that. Have a nice garden and stuff.
Fantastic. Well, you know, you've had a great career to date.
Thank you.
And looking out and watching all those other artists, we had a chat about Lemmy from Motorhead, didn't we, before we started the interview? So let's recap that story. What were you saying about Lemmy?
Just saying that, like, Lemmy is a prime example of how music is very good for the women aspect of things, and I think he'd agree with that. Yeah,
it hasn't done him any harm whatsoever.
Not at all.
That's great to catch up. Ed Sheeran here at noise11.com.